Hello friends, welcome to LeggLife. And you guys, right off the bat, we want to let you know, I promise, not every video on our channel coming up is going to be about what is going on in the world today. Right. However, Sherri and I have been talking, there's a lot of us that are at home more either by choice, caring for others, or by force if you are quarantined. And so we said, you know what the heck are people doing at home? What the heck are we going to do at home? So we came up with a list of things that we're going to be doing as we spend more time at home over this next season, and some things we think you might love to do at home as well.
We actually had a lot of fun kind of creating this list, and we're excited to share with you guys the ideas that we came up with.
And one of the reasons we had so much fun with this is that we live busy lives. We know you guys live busy lives. And there are a lot of things in our life that we've said, you know what, I'd like to do this, or I'd like to learn that.
If I had more time, I would love to do this.
Exactly. If I had more time.
We've got time.
Guess what, guys? We've got some time. And so that's kind of why we had fun with this. So Sherri, let's get into it.
Yep. So the first thing we're going to start with, which is one of my biggest passions, is books. These are going to be books that we love and want you to read, and then also books that we have not read yet that we're excited to read.
So the goal is over the next couple of weeks, the next few weeks, the next couple of months, however long this lasts, as we have more time at home, what are some books that we would want to read? Right. And so that is actually where we're going to start. These are books that we have not read that we want to. Sherri, what is your book?
My book is Crazy Rich Asians. I know a lot of people that have read this. I've heard amazing things about it, like how good the book is, how good the movie is. I am a big fan of reading the book before watching the movie, and so that's my goal, is to read this book.
So I actually cheated and have two books. Now, confession, you guys, I want to love to read so bad. We talk about that a lot, like Sherri loves to read. I have enjoyed reading during times of my life, but I'm not like a big reader at all times.
Right.
So there are two books over the next couple of weeks that I want to read. The first one, Artemis Fowl. Yeah. I've heard so many good things about this book.
And the movie's coming out soon.
And the movie's coming out soon, so I want to read this. The next book, I actually just bought at Barnes & Noble, I think yesterday or the day before, Renegades by Marissa Meyer. My friend Auburn recommended the Lunar Chronicles series.
Which I have not read, but is on my to-read list.
And so as I was at Barnes & Noble looking at the Lunar Chronicles, I saw this, and as I read the back cover, I was like, holy moly, that sounds like my kind of book.
It does.
So for me, Renegades, Artemis Fowl.
Next, we're going to talk about books that we have read and loved and think you guys would also enjoy. I'm going to start out with this one. I actually read this right after the big earthquake in November of 2018, and it kind of helped me get me into a better headspace when it came to my anxiety. This is called Anxious for Nothing, and it really helped. It was just, I just think that anybody who has any kind of anxiety over anything should read this book.
And right now there's obviously a lot of anxiety with everything that's going on. I remember when Sherri was going through this book, there are certain books that she goes through that we'll lay in bed at night and she's just like, oh, listen to this. Oh, listen to this.
I want to read you this passage.
This was one of those books. There was just so many good things in there. And one of the things that I like, even we were discussing about this, is some people dismiss anxiety. You know what I mean? Just kind of write it off as not a real thing, or you're just stressed, or you just need to. But you felt like this book actually addressed anxiety as a real thing, a legit thing that people struggle with.
Right. It kind of validated my anxiety, but then also gave me tools to kind of work myself through my anxiety. So, one of the big things that they talk about in here is that anxiety in and of itself is not really anything you can control. It's an emotion like any other, happy or sad, or it's something that your body just feels. Now what you do with that anxiety and how you let it shape your life is the key. And so this really helped me work through my own anxiety.
Yeah, because after the big earthquake we had, that was a super anxious time for you.
There was probably 3 months that I was constantly on edge and constantly tense because we were having constant aftershocks, and I was just
just triggered all of the time constantly by it.
Right, yeah.
So that book helps. So that's definitely a good requirement. My book, you guys, Ready Player One, one of my all-time favorite books.
I'm gonna agree.
And here's the reason I chose this book. Now, this isn't oh, the world is going crazy right now. This is a happy, feel-good story. To me, this was just a book that I genuinely enjoyed. Yeah. Like, I think I read it in a weekend. Like, once I started,
right. You just want to keep going.
I could not put it down. The book is so much better than the movie.
Infinitely.
So much better.
Yep.
So if you have not read Ready Player One, I would really recommend this book. It is a fun read, is an easy read. You've read it too.
Yes, but it also dives into just people, society,
social things. Totally.
Yeah, it's fascinating.
So Ready Player One, I think a super fun read for you guys.
Yep. And I cheated a little bit. I'm actually going to give you another recommendation because I recommend all of my friends to read this book in this whole series. It's called The Selection by Kira Cass. It's just one of my favorites. Like, it was an easy read, but also just, it's so good. It's so good.
What is it? Give us a quick snapshot about what that book is about.
Oh gosh. So it's from the perspective of a girl named America, and she gets kind of drafted into this selection process to become the new queen. And it's kind of her like struggle with the process itself and how much she just doesn't like even just being drafted into this, but also I don't know, it's fascinating. It's really good. So the whole series is excellent.
It's one of the series that I've heard you recommend to so many people.
Like, literally everybody I talk to. You have to read The Selection.
Yeah. So just so you guys know, all of these books, we're going to link down below.
Yep.
Go check those out. So those are the books that we plan on reading while we have time at home over the next few weeks. Mm-hmm. And also that we think you should read. Now, Sherri, let's move from books onto movies.
Yeah, I think we're going to have a lot of time for movies.
Yeah, for sure we are, which not a bad thing.
I'm not avoiding.
Yeah, and so we actually divided movies up into the exact same. Mm-hmm. Movies that we want to watch that we haven't seen or haven't seen maybe in a long time.
Yep.
And movies that maybe you haven't seen that we think would be great to watch during this time. Sherri, let's just start with movies that we want to watch. What's yours?
Because I'm reading the book, or want to read the book, I want to see the movie Crazy Rich Asians as well. I haven't seen that either because I've been waiting to read the book and I haven't read the book yet. So once I've read the book, I want to watch the movie.
So for you, the book and the movie during this social distancing time.
Right.
So for me, my answer, The King and I. Now listen.
Heck yeah!
Okay, I've been getting all sorts of crap from
me
Sherri and Auburn and basically everybody else that I've never seen The King and I. Now, we have tickets to see the Broadway play of The King and I in April. Let's be honest, that might not happen.
Might not happen.
That might not happen. So I was like, you know what? Okay, I need to give in. I need to watch it. So sometime over the next few weeks, I'm going to watch The King and I for the very first time, not only to get everybody off of my back, but also because I do feel like it's one of those classic movies and plays that like you should see. And I was going to wait to see the play, but I think The King and I is the one I want to watch.
Yay! Now we're going to talk about movies that we love, that we would love for you to watch. Go ahead.
Mine is one of the all-time best movies. And I also wanted to pick a movie that, like, in the middle of turmoil and chaos and, like, stress and anxiety, like, what is just one of those movies that every time I watch, like, I smile and I laugh and I end the movie feeling better than when I started it. That movie is Cool Runnings.
It's so good.
You guys, if you have not seen it, what is going on?
Right.
It's about the Jamaican bobsled team, and it is such a funny and such a fun and such an uplifting story. Mm-hmm. Like, to me, that movie just has everything. I could watch it a million times. I might have watched it a million times.
Correct.
So Cool Runnings, probably an unexpected pick, but it's just one of those movies that, like I said, every time I ended the movie, I feel better than when I started. And that was kind of what I was going for when I was thinking of a movie to encourage you guys to watch.
Yep.
So Sherri, Beth, what is your choice for movies you want them to watch?
A movie that I love that I don't know that a lot of people have really seen is The Majestic with Jim Carrey. It's so good. And it's such a heartwarming kind of story.
That's one of those movies that, like, any Saturday afternoon, any Sunday afternoon, like, you could just put on at any time and watch it and be happy.
Yes.
It actually is really good. I think it's an underappreciated movie.
For sure. Yeah.
I don't know that I had seen... I don't remember when I would have first seen it, but I remember always liking it.
Yeah.
Every time I've watched it. That's a good choice.
Yeah, thank you.
We've talked about books. We've talked about movies, but there are a lot of other things that you can do. And one of those things that we're hoping to do has to do with, like, home organization, home projects. Sherri, this has been on our list for far too long.
Yeah, and it's sort of reached like a boiling point for me. Like, I'm just, whether I'm stuck inside my house or not, like, I'm making myself be stuck inside my house because I can't handle it anymore.
You guys, we've actually been talking about this since long before social distancing even came up.
Right.
This was like on our 2020 list. Mm-hmm. We've just acquired a lot of stuff.
It's just stuff.
There's just stuff all over
everywhere.
The place. And so I think we're both feeling like a little tense about all of that.
Yeah.
And we're like, you know what? It is time to minimalize and purge. So what we're planning on doing, and it's great because we have the perfect opportunity to jumpstart this, is we're just going to start going room by room and say, you know what? We're going to focus on this closet first or this room first. And we're just going to go through, and we're not going to completely Marie Kondo our house.
Right.
But we are definitely trying to get rid of, I don't know, half of everything we own.
I know.
Or like,
it's just the problem for me is that it's so much stuff. And when we had Auburn stay with us, and then like 4 days later, my sister got here, and it was just like cleaning my house is a pain. And we have 1,100 square feet. It's not that big.
Yeah.
But there's so much stuff that I have to dust and vacuum under, and it's just like, why do we own all of this?
So we are going to be downsizing, minimalizing, getting rid of clutter, getting rid of junk, and living a simpler, more organized life in 2020. And this gives us the perfect opportunity and the perfect chance to start.
Yep. With an abundance of time, I think it's also fun to maybe take up a new hobby or revisit an old hobby.
Yeah.
For me, I love painting, and I haven't painted in a very long time. And I think that would be a fun thing to do, is pull out my canvases and paints and maybe do a little project.
That's one of the things I think with most creative people, I know with us, we've talked a lot about this. With most creative people, as life gets busy, sometimes the first thing to go are those things that sometimes are the most life-giving, right?
Right, because they're also just...
They can seem like fluff.
Right.
Right.
The least important things.
Exactly. It's like when there's lots of things in life you have to do, it's easy to lay down the stuff that you like to do, right? But that's not necessary.
Right.
So we have a great time to pick that stuff back up. I was super excited to hear Sherri say that she's going to pick up her paints again. I love hearing that. For me, there's actually two things. Number one goes back to what I said earlier about books. I'm jealous of the way Sherri likes to read. Like, I see the way that she gets lost in books and stories, and just that it's like a life-giving, relaxing thing to her. And like, I want that. I'm not opposed to reading. I love to read, right? There are times, like with Ready Player One, that I get lost in a book, and then like the weekend's over, and I'm just so happy.
Right.
You know, and so like, I want that. And so I want to try to be more intentional about my reading time over the next few weeks.
I would love that.
That would be great to see if I could like pick that up as a hobby that I really do enjoy and love.
Yeah.
The other thing is something that I've been doing more this year. My friend Colin actually helped me get into film photography, and it has been one of the most amazing things in my life. You guys, so, and I don't remember if I've talked about this on a vlog before. Everything in my life is instant gratification, or like instant, like I get to see the product quickly.
Right.
You know what I mean? Whereas with film photography, you know what I love about it? Is that I take an image, make an image, and I have no clue. Like, there's no looking to the back of the camera.
This might be great.
Might have been terrible.
Might be terrible.
My settings may be off because I don't even know what the settings do yet. And so, but I have just so enjoyed taking the camera and going out and just like snapping photos. Now, obviously, I'll be doing this by myself, not around other people, social distancing. And so that's one of the things I want to do more of, is I want to take my camera out, take the film out, get photos, and I also want to actually get them developed. Because since I've started film photography, I actually have not developed any of my rolls of film.
Right.
So
you don't know how good you're doing.
I have no clue, but honestly, even not knowing how good I'm doing, just the process of making something but not knowing the result instantly has been amazing. And so I want to do more film photography while I have the time.
And obviously, another thing that we will be doing a lot more at home than we have in the past is cooking at home instead of eating out.
You guys, we're terrible about that. Like, we are so bad about just like, oh, just pick something up on the way home, or let's just go like order takeout for dinner.
DoorDash, what do we got tonight?
Totally. And so obviously we're going to be eating at home more often.
Yep.
And so we're talking about, well, what's something that we've never made that we really want to try to make? And for us, it's spaghetti squash.
Now, I understand that most people are going to be like, what? You haven't tried? No, we never have, because I don't know what to do with it.
That's us. I've eaten spaghetti squash before.
Sure, it's great.
Great. I've just never made it because I'm like, how do I turn this thing into a, and then I put it back and I'm like, nah, I'm good. And so for us, spaghetti squash. So sometime over the next couple weeks, you guys, gosh darn it, are actually going to try spaghetti squash.
And finally, an activity that we're both looking forward to because we both enjoy it so much, is we're going to find a new Lego set and put it together.
You guys, we've built every Lego set we have. Like, there are no Lego sets in our house that have not been put together. And so we're going to have to go find one.
Yeah.
Because we love.
It's so much fun.
It's so much fun, and it's something that we both enjoy. Puzzles are something that only she enjoys.
I am looking forward to doing puzzles.
without me. But Lego sets, we can do together.
It's like a 3D puzzle.
Okay. And so we're definitely, I don't think so at all. Lego sets are fun. Puzzles are absolute torture. So we're going to find a Lego set. We don't know what one. Maybe it'll be a Disney one. Maybe it'll be a Harry Potter one. Maybe it'll be something totally different.
Who knows?
But you guys will probably see it on a future vlog, whatever Lego set we decide to do while we are inside at home.
Those are all things that we're excited to try or take back up or whatever. But these next few things are things that we're going to try to kind of build into our life just for mental health stability.
Yeah, you guys, I don't know if you're like me, but the last week has been a little difficult for me only because I'm a news junkie and I have a hard time disconnecting from like an ever moving news cycle. The problem is that it's exhausting,
right?
But also there's like nothing life-giving. And so like the more I'm connected to that stuff, the more that I just feel like the life being sucked out of me, right? And so we're going to try to do a couple things. Number one, we're going to try to have an hour a day where we just focus on something in our life that is life-giving, whether it's reading a book or whether it's like, you know, me out doing photography, something in our life that is life-giving. And during that hour, we have to completely be disconnected from text messages, completely disconnected from like social media and news. Just like it's kind of this breath in the middle of the chaos, right? And so we are definitely going to try to each do that for 1 hour a day.
And even though we'll be spending more time inside, I still think it's really important to make sure we're getting sunshine and fresh air. I did read an article about what a bunch of doctors did specifically for like sailors in the Spanish flu in 1918. And they would put them outside and give them fresh air and sunshine, and those are the sailors that really got better. And so, I mean, there's something certainly life-giving about sunshine and fresh air. And so I think it's important. I mean, we're still sort of in like low digits here in Alaska, so maybe windows open constantly is not great, but some, and maybe walking outside at least, having curtains open for sunshine in the house, I think is important.
That's one of the things that we honestly don't do a good job at. Because I think maybe with our work schedule, like, you know, we close up our blinds at night, and then in the morning we get up and we both go to work and the blinds are closed. We come home, the blinds stay closed. And it's like we can like never actually let light into our house.
Right.
And so we're really going to try to be intentional to open the blinds every day, like let the sunshine that we have in.
Right, we have east and west facing windows, and so...
And so even if it's just like a little crack in the window, just to get a little bit of fresh air. So those are things that also that we're going to be doing. Another thing we're going to be doing is that we do think that it's important to have social interaction. Even though you're social distancing.
Right, especially for extroverts, because he's gonna go crazy in like a day.
Totally, and then I'm gonna drive her crazy in like a day and 1 hour. And so one of the things we've been talking about is like, okay, how do we have interaction with people without actually having interaction with people?
Right.
And so we were just talking about wanting to be more intentional with things like FaceTime, wanting to be more intentional with things like texting. Even like one of the things we just bought the other day that Sherri's going to do, and I love this so much, is she's going to be sending like handwritten postcards to some of like her girlfriends.
Right.
And so I just love the idea. Look for ways to be personal and have personal interaction without actually interacting with people.
Right.
One of the things that we're actually toying with here on the channel, and let us know in the comments below if you think this is a good idea, we were thinking about doing more live streams over the next month here on our channel.
Even just sort of like to chat.
Yeah, just to hang out, because I don't know if you guys are like me, but when I think of kind of like separation and quarantine, what I start to miss and what I start to get lonely for are like other people. You know, and so even getting to engage with you guys digitally sounds awesome to me, but let us know in the comments below if we did more of those.
Right.
Would you guys like that? Would you like to see more of that? So definitely find ways to interact with people while not physically interacting with people. And that actually kind of leads us even to a discussion around what the heck social distancing is. And here's what I don't want this to become. I don't want this to become a debate on the merits of social distancing in the comments, right? You guys know we try to keep a community here that is positive, that is encouraging. And I think we can all agree that whether you think this virus is overblown or whether you think people are not taking it serious enough, we all don't want to see people die from this. We all don't want to see this get worse, right? Everybody kind of agrees on that. I
would hope so.
I would sure hope so. And so I think it's important to say, okay, so what is social distancing? And what that is, what that means, it's not play dates.
Correct.
Right? It's not just
your kids are home from school doesn't mean you need to meet every single parent you've ever met before.
Yeah, I think that it really is. Remember, the goal of this is to create separation so the virus doesn't spread. So things like play dates, probably not a great idea. Things like still going to community events, probably not a great idea.
Right.
Any place where you're around other people, probably not a great idea, right? Because the goal of all of this, the goal of businesses having employers work remotely, the goal of churches shutting down, the goal of libraries, museums shutting down, is because we as a society need to create separation between people so that this does not spread. And so I think that's important to remember, that this isn't just like time off of work, right?
It's not time off of school.
Or time off of school, right? The goal of this is to create a gap so that this thing does not spread.
Right.
So that over the next few weeks is exactly what we're going to be doing, right? We're going to be trying to create a gap between us and others while still maintaining personal relationships, while still pressing into things we love like books and like movies, and learning new hobbies like photography and reading or painting. We're honestly kind of excited because I think most of us live really busy and crazy and fast-paced lives.
Yeah.
Yet most of us right now are forced to slow down in some ways.
Yeah.
You know, that's actually one of the things that I've noticed. There's a couple, obviously probably same with your community, there's a couple like Anchorage coronavirus or COVID-19 Facebook groups. And one of the most common questions I've seen asked in those groups are things like, I have kids, what do I do? Right? Like, what in the world do we do while kids are off of school and I'm off of work or I'm home from work? And I think, look at books, look at movies, look at, you just texted something, I think, to your sister and I just a few days ago about like museums that offer free online tours.
Yeah, I think there's like 12 museums on this list that are offering virtual tours of the museum. So I think that would be fascinating to do.
I think it's so fascinating to do. And so just look for ways to look for ways to stay busy with good stuff. And the other thing I'd say is look for ways to be kind to other people. And I wore this shirt, my Be Kind for No Reason shirt, for a reason, because I think that in the middle of chaos and panic, it's easy for all of us to like start looking inward and to start thinking of like, I need to protect myself, I need to protect my family. But just look for ways to be kind to other people.
Right.
And I think remember that as a society, there's a lot of people right now dealing with all of the feelings that go along with this, whether it's anxiety or fear or panic or all of the what ifs. Look for ways to be kind. Right? Look for ways to be nice to people. Look for ways to help people. I absolutely love, there's this group that started on Facebook here in Anchorage that's basically like a coronavirus help group. Like it's a sharing group. Like, I have this, do you have this? I need this, do you need this? And so look for ways to be kind, look for ways to be helpers, look for ways to, spread kindness and not viruses, right? Like, let's spread that over the next few weeks as we're stuck at home. You guys, we want to hear from you. Let us know down below. What books or movies do you think we should read or watch?
We would love to hear that.
What are some things that you'd like to see from us over the coming weeks as far as the videos go? Again, we promise you that all of the videos are not going to be focused on this. In fact, our next video on Wednesday is going to be a taste test video from a box that a viewer sent us full of candy from the UK that we had never tried before.
Most of it was delicious.
Most of it was delicious.
I can't say it was all delicious, but most of it was.
Absolutely. So you guys are going to see that on Wednesday. But you guys, we love you. Thanks so much for being a part of our community. We appreciate you guys so very much, and we'll see you on the next LeggLife video.